I'm going to talk a little bit about the Death Knight class, and then some of the existing classes in the game. I'll follow it up with some general changes we're doing to systems and try to leave plenty of room for questions. So one of the things we wanted to do with the Death Knight was fill another tanking role. We thought that there weren't quite enough tanks available, particularly for 5-player dungeons. But we didn't want to have the kind of classic paladin or warrior tanking tree, PvP tree, DPS tree. So we tried to make 2 to 3 totally different trees that could do all of the same roles. We also knew as a tank, we needed a way for the Death Knight to generate threat, and we came up with the idea of presences, so the Death Knight player could say, I'm going to be a tank now, I need to generate threat, I'll switch into a presence that excels at doing that. The Death Knight started at a higher level than normal. They have an amazing start zone with some quests like you've never seen before. Another goal we had for the Death Knight was wanted to share itemization with existing plate classes. We didn't want to have to create this whole extra set of Death Knight gear that would then drop off bosses and piss people off when their gear didn't drop. We want the Death Knight to play very differently. We have the rage mechanic for the warrior, and paladins use mana, druids use energy or rage, depending on what mode they're in. So we came up with this idea as runes as a resource. The runes are ultimately, it's an infinite source of energy. They're going to last forever, but because you have 3 different cooldowns of the blood runes, frost runes, and unholy runes, you kind of have to keep track of 3 different things at once. We tried to tie this into the rune weapon, which has been a part of Death Knight lore and Warcraft forever. And you can see here we went through many different UI iterations. We started with just the idea that we were going to have blood, frost, and unholy runes. We tried out the UI you can see here with a sword blade with the different runes along the bottom. And then ultimately the one that we're going to ship with has the runes across the bottom with a spot for runic power in there too. All 3 of the Death Knight talent trees have talents that let them periodically convert their runes into death runes, which they can then use for some other special ability. Another feature we added early on was the concept of runic power. After just hitting your runes all the time, it felt like it might get a little, sometimes we call it like the metronome. You're like hitting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. By building up runic power, you could eventually unleash your runic power to do something cool like the death coil or some of the bottom talents of the trees. And as I mentioned, we have 3 talent trees that can all do the same kind of role. If you want to be a Death Knight tank, you can do it with the blood tree or the frost tree or the unholy tree. That's a kind of a change in strategy for us, and something we're starting to explore a little bit more with the existing classes. You'll notice that we used to have, say, mages or rogues would have a tree, which is, this is the PvP tree, and the others are like the PvE DPS tree or something. Trying to blend that in a little bit more and make the talent choices more about your play style.